check stubs, and all you need to know. Check stubs are a vital part of every business, both for an employer and for an employee. While you might not be sued for not providing one as a business, some state laws require you to provide one. Typically, large-scale businesses partner with payroll companies to handle the processing of check stubs for their employees. However, these cost quite the sum to maintain, as a small, medium-sized business or a large company looking to spend less. This method might not be ideal for you. This article will tell you all you need to know about check stubs and how you can get one with a check stub generator. Pay stubs are significant records that are useful for both you and your team members. However, the laws, standards, and traditions governing pay stubs vary from nation to nation and even state to state. If you're employing internationally, this can present numerous administrative issues. Do you really need to give pay stubs for your employees? And other frequently asked topics are clarified in this tutorial. What does the term check stubs mean? What do they serve? How do you read a paycheck stub? What do they look like? How can you easily and legally compensate members of a worldwide team? What are check stubs? A check stub, also known as a pay stub, payslip, or paycheck stub, is a document that accompanies a check outlining details regarding the amount paid. Check stubs typically include a stub number, employer and employee information, the amount paid, pay rate and pay period, deductions, employer taxes, and a few other similar details. Do you need a check stub? Check stubs are a fundamental need for employees, and as an employer, you owe it to your workers to provide one for them. Other than it being required by state laws, they are also required by the Fair Labor Standards Act. Between state laws and the Fair Labor Act that compels you to provide one, check stubs are also quite handy for employees. It helps them keep track of their pay, track deductions, and can be used for references. This is especially for checks deposited directly to employee bank accounts. The check stub shows them exactly why the amount deposited was so, and should they ever want to leave your company for somewhere else or seek a loan, proof of payment in the form of a check stub might be required. What purposes do pay stubs serve? Employees are given precise records of their hours worked and remuneration via pay stubs and check stubs. This enables them to verify the accuracy of the money they have received and paid in taxes in time. Check stubs can also be helpful in preventing and settling pay-related disagreements between an employee and an employer. Paycheck stubs are also essential as documentation of income when applying for loans. Check stubs are frequently accepted by banks and real estate professionals as documentation of income, enabling workers to lease, buy, or apply for a loan, even though it's not required by law. Providing employees with fast access to pay stubs helps them in both their professional and personal lives. A pay stub, how do you make one? To create check stubs for your employees that seem professional, you can utilize specialized payroll software. Both free tools and paid packages are readily available. Once you select a pay stub tool, simply enter all the essential information, and the software will create a paycheck stub for you. These pay stubs can then be printed or sent via email to your employees. How can I determine my year-to-date income from a pay stub? On an employee's pay stub, look at the gross wages column to find the year-to-date (YTD) income. Simply add up the year-to-date income that is shown on each employee's pay stub to determine the total YTD income for all of your employees. How can I determine my AGI from a check stub? Subtract the total of the employee's deductions from their gross pay in order to determine their adjusted gross income, AGI, from their pay stub. The AGI is the total taxable income of an employee. How can I get a check stub? You ought to be able to access your employees' pay stubs online via the payroll system if you use payroll software. If your firm has a payroll system, you can typically obtain pay stubs through it. If you're an employee, pay stubs may be password protected for security reasons. You could occasionally get a paper pay stub instead. It's important to bear in mind that in some states, companies are required to keep their employees' pay stubs on file for a specific amount of time. Best procedures for check stubs. The first best practice is to make sure employees may see their pay stubs in accordance with the state regulations that were previously mentioned. Although you might be able to give them electronically through your payroll system, in the majority of cases, that entails printing off a paper copy. In order to make your pay stubs as complete as possible, the following items ought to be on them: personnel name, date and duration of pay, work hours, gross income, net compensation, deductions, such as contributions and taxes withheld, information about direct deposits. Last but not least, think about removing any obstacles that an employee might run into when attempting to acquire a pay stub. It might be hard to complete applications for loans or rentals that ask for work pay stubs. By making it simple for workers to access important paperwork, you, as an employer, can lessen their stress. How to generate check stubs. For small and medium-sized businesses looking to generate check stub on a budget, there are quite many options out there to make choosing become a burden. Today, check stub generators can help you take away the tedious process of manually generating payrolls, paying a premium payroll intermediary to perform the task. All that is required is that you choose a preferred generator, punch in a few essential details, and you will have your check stub in your email in a matter of minutes. However, when choosing a generator, you need something easy to use, costs less, and offers accuracy. Any slight mistake on a check stub can have serious consequences. This is why you should try PayStubsNow. It offers the accuracy you can trust, depend on, and can be utilized with ease.